Logan is directed by James Mangold and sees the return for possibly the last time of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, aka Logan, aka... This time we find Logan also fostering Professor X, once again played by the legendary Patrick Stewart, and a little girl, and I will add nothing else to it, happens to fall into their company, and now they must protect her from a vicious gang of mercenaries, scientists, farmers. And just when he thought he was out, he gets pulled back in. And even though Logan will do everything he can to defend Professor X and the little girl, he does have to ask himself, will he ever lead a normal life? And it's been called this before, and this is certainly not going to be a surprise probably to anybody watching, but you guys, Logan is one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. And its brilliance is really that it is not a comic book movie. This is a movie for everybody. This is a standalone film with its own unique story and its own unique characters. Yes, it is part of the X-Men franchise universe. Yes, it is owned by Marvel, but that is really where the comic book element stops and the characters step in. This is a film with heart and soul, and even if you end up going to the movie not really knowing who Wolverine or Logan is, not knowing the history between him and Professor X, not knowing what X-23 means, that's all okay. This movie was made to be its own creature, to stand apart from the other films, but also be a culmination of them in the character of Logan and in many ways Professor X. And of course, I'm sure it's no secret that this is a hard R-rated film. It does not pull any punches. In fact, I would say it goes out of its way to throw many punches. It is a hard-hitting, dreary, gritty film. It is not for the weak of heart. It is not an easy watch. This is not a splashy, colorful, Avengers type comic book movie. And I love those types of movies, and they certainly have their fan base and audiences. However, the type of movie that Logan is, I think, is going to catch a lot of people off guard, because you go in thinking you're just watching a Wolverine movie and you leave having really been jerked around emotionally. This movie really hits you right in the gut. And of course, that is all in no small thanks to the fantastic, amazing performances that are in this film. Hugh Jackman has never been better as Wolverine, as Logan. He really gets to the meat of the character in this film, because this is the character at his wit's end. This is a character who's had enough. He just wants to disappear, and then he wants to die. This is Logan on his last legs, and Hugh Jackman was born to play him this way. It has all come to this, and he really pulls it off. But Patrick Stewart in the film, he just amazed me. We saw new layers and new dimensions to the character of Professor Xavier that we have never seen before, and it was tragic. This whole film is a tragedy, especially what happens to its two main characters, the journey they are forced to go on, the blood they are forced to shed. It is such a hard-hitting film in so many ways, but mainly on a character level, and these two actors really shine in these roles, and they are at the top of their games in Logan. But let me not forget one of the best performances in this film, and that is little Daphne Keane as Laura. She just kills it in this movie in more ways than one. I think this little girl really has a career ahead of her to convey such pain and such anger at such a young age so convincingly, to really scare a man of my size and age in a movie theater. That is a huge compliment. She really pulled it off. I cannot wait to see where she goes as an actress, and I would love to see more films centered around that character. But you have to give a lot of credit, of course, to James Mangold, who directed this film. Now, he also directed The Wolverine, which was a gigantic improvement over X-Men Origins Wolverine. I don't think anybody out there is going to argue with that, but it still had some problems. And while I really appreciate the film overall, even I'll admit it's not quite the Wolverine movie I wanted to see. Well, Logan definitely is. This is the comic book film I wanted to see. This is the X-Men movie I wanted to see, and it is the quintessential Wolverine film, no argument. Well, I could sit here and praise this film all day, guys. I will be shocked if it doesn't end up in my top 10 best of the year at the end of the year. It is that good. I would not be totally shocked if it gets some sort of Oscar recognition outside the special effects realm. I'm talking acting, writing, direction. I'm gonna go ahead and give Logan an enthusiastic A. And the only reason I didn't throw the A+ on there was because, like a lot of Marvel-based comic book properties these days, the villains in the film, while definitely good and definitely a threat, really just weren't that interesting. And I think the way the villains get kind of swapped around in the movie makes the film lose a little bit of impact in the end, but not on a character level, more on a revenge, bloodthirst kind of level. But again, since the characters and story are so front and center in this film, it really didn't bother me overall. But if I'm going to be nitpicky, and in great films like this, you got to be nitpicky to find fault, that was like the one fault. So if you had a chance to see Logan, go and comment below and tell me what you think about it. Do you want to see Hugh Jackman reprise the role again, or do you feel this is an appropriate ending? And who in the film, or what about the film, do you feel most deserves Oscar recognition? And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see some more stuff, then click like and subscribe below. And until next time, I'm Late Never Saw, keeping you movie healthy. Ha ha!